Hey everyone, how are you doing? My name is Wendy Myers. Welcome to today's Facebook Live. I'm so excited about talking to you guys today because we're going to be talking about 5G and EMF. It's something I've really been focusing a lot on lately because of the growing concern, not only for my own health, because 5G rolled out recently in my neighborhood, but just the health of my clients and all of the health issues that I see them suffer from, and then their improvement when they do things to address 5G and EMF in their environment, their symptoms improve. So I see improvements in my own client population when people address this. And so I really want to get the word out to everyone out there on Facebook and anyone listening, my followers, that you need to be paying attention to this and not ignoring it, thinking about this, adding it to your health regimen. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever about anything I'm talking about or any concerns about EMF, don't hesitate to leave a comment, and I'm going to answer it after I inform you guys about 5G and EMFs. How concerned should you really be? And scientists weigh in here. I'm going to be talking about the latest research that I've been finding about EMFs and 5G and their effects on their body, and the really kind of, unconventional tools that I've been using to address EMF for myself and my family. So we're going to be talking about the medical link between EMF pollution and illness and symptoms, how EMF can cause infertility, depression, brain fog, insomnia, chronic fatigue, and so many other symptoms. It's kind of scary. We're going to be talking about the latest science on EMF toxicity, and why you need to do something to protect yourself. So why are you ignoring this top concern? We're going to talk a little bit about that. I dealt with this for a while, where I just knew it was a problem and I just wasn't waking up and doing anything about it, and I paid for that. And so 5G just enrolled in my neighborhood. So I'm going to talk about what I'm doing to protect me and my family's health. And can you reverse EMF damage? Really, really interesting conversation we're going to have today. So let's jump into it. Remember, leave your comments if you have any questions whatsoever. So let's talk about the medical link between EMF pollution and illness and symptoms. My question to you is, do you have mystery illness and symptoms? Are there things that you've tried to recover, or things you've tried to do to fix your health or remove symptoms to no avail? So do symptoms that are not resolving, or do you have symptoms that are not resolving no matter what you do, try, eat, or supplement with? Is your doctor treating symptoms that are actually EMF-induced symptoms, like low-level depression, brain fog, insomnia, fatigue, numbness, tingling, aches and pains? You may be going to your doctor with these kind of, subclinical symptoms, so-called, and the doctor is giving you sleeping pills or antidepressants, or they recommend all kinds of treatments and medications, but those aren't going to address the underlying root causes. That's why a lot of these things don't really work all that great. We need to address underlying root causes, of which EMF is a big, clear cause of these symptoms, which we'll get to in a second, talking about the research. And there was a book that Samuel Milham, MD, wrote. He warns in his book, Dirty Electricity, that electrification and the diseases of Western civilization, that because of the recent proliferation of radio frequency radiation from cell phones and towers and terrestrial antennas and Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi Max systems and broadband internet over power lines and personal electronic equipment, that we may be facing an upcoming epidemic of morbidity and mortality from EMF. And so let's talk about the latest science on EMF toxicity. So I was reading over a meta-analysis by Martin Pall that analyzed 23 controlled scientific studies of the health-related effects in animals, human cells, and culture, and in human beings. So these are not anecdotal studies at all or observational studies. So these studies found that Wi-Fi and other wireless communication EMFs are pulsed, leading to larger biological impacts. And so these EMFs are also polarized, also producing larger effects on the body. That the EMF effects are cumulative, so meaning they increase over the longer period of time you're exposed to EMF, and that EMFs impact young people and babies and children more than adults, as we've already developed. So EMFs are linked to the following dangerous health conditions and symptoms. So there's the growth stimulation of adipose stem cells. So that means that EMF are causing an increase in the number of our fat cells, our fat stem cell growth. And this is definitely probably playing a role in obesity. EMFs also cause negative hormonal changes, including the disrupted function of catecholamines like epinephrine, pancreatic endocrine dysfunction, which means your blood sugar regulation, progesterone, and estrogen. EMFs also lower your antioxidants because they cause oxidative stress and cellular DNA damage, which you could be using for detoxification. They cause increased cell death or apoptosis. More cells die upon exposure to EMF. They cause malignant and benign brain tumors. They cause increased permeability of the blood-brain barrier, making it more susceptible to infections and viruses and heavy metals and things crossing the blood-brain barrier that are not supposed to be in your blood-brain barrier. They cause adverse effects on neurotransmitters in the brain, resulting in mood swings, memory loss, learning issues, and stress. They cause rupturing of brain cells, leading to calcium ion leakage, resulting in slowed brain reaction times. They cause disruption in brain glucose metabolism, linked to Alzheimer's disease, among other problems. In fact, there's some recent research that shows that Alzheimer's is actually diabetes of the brain, essentially, and EMF plays a role in contributing to that. EMFs also reduce melatonin production, causing an interference in your circadian rhythms and sleep disruption. I truly feel like that so many people have sleep issues today, or they don't get restful sleep, regenerative sleep. EMF is playing a huge role in this. I suffered from this also until I figured out it was EMFs. I started supplementing with melatonin. That helped temporarily, but ultimately you want to restore your body's own natural melatonin production, and you're only going to do that if you block EMFs. EMFs also interfere in thyroid function as well. EMFs cause sperm and testicular damage, resulting in lowered sperm count and male infertility problems. They cause cardiac changes and blood pressure disruptions. I know actually some of my clients that have gone to the hospital thinking they were having a heart attack, but they actually realized later they had just walked into, maybe they live in the country, they had walked into the city where there was 5G, they discovered later, and they started having these severe heart palpitations and felt like they were having a heart attack and went to the hospital. This has happened to 2 of my clients, just in my own client population. This was interesting that I found that EMFs disrupt development of teeth as well. And really disturbingly, EMFs cause calcium buildup in your cells, in your tissues, which dramatically interfere in cells functioning. Because if you have too much calcium build up in your tissues, that's going to interfere, because they basically interfere in hormone receptors. So the calcium is going to interfere in thyroid hormones getting into your cells, adrenal hormones getting into your cells, nutrients getting in, toxins getting out. The calcium just slows everything down in your cells. That's why EMF disrupts so many different processes in the body. And so, I mean, I can keep going on and on and on and on. I mean, there are just hundreds, if not thousands, of research studies out there showing so many different disruptions of the body's activity. This is no joke. You have to wake up and do something about this in your environment. And I'm going to tell you how in just a minute. And so let's talk also about what I'm doing to protect me and my daughter's health. And 5G just rolled out in my neighborhood. I'm in Huntington Beach. I moved here about a year ago. And I was really surprised when I was going out of town in the beginning of this summer, and I looked on my phone and it said 5G on it. I thought, wow, okay, here we go. We switched to the 5G network. And it just gives me a lot of concern about people's health, that they're going to be suffering all these vague symptoms, and that's going to bring them into their doctor, and they're not going to get a solution that's going to work for them. And that's why I'm doing so much, talking so much about 5G and EMF, because this is going to be really one of the biggest concerns in playing a role in the demise of people's health. So these are the top 5 ways that I protect myself from EMF. So these are the basic things that you can do short of buying the gadgets or short of doing, purchasing anything. So number 1, you can increase the distance between your phone and your body. So if you have your phone on your body, put it on airplane mode. Women, do not put it in your bra. Men do not put it in your pocket where it's right next to your testes. Turn it on airplane mode if you can. And part of my concern is due to the nature of the fields, EMF exposure rapidly decreases as distance from a cell phone increases. So keep it in another room, limit your usage, for long cell phone calls, use speaker phones, earbuds, or, I don't recommend a Bluetooth headset. I prefer the wired headset, but even those can disseminate electricity in your brain. Only wear them when you're using them. At night, keep the phone off of your night table, put it on airplane mode. Better yet, put it into another room. Turn off the Bluetooth as well, because sometimes people turn on airplane mode, but they don't turn off the Bluetooth also. That's a very simple thing you can do. You can also shut down your Wi-Fi router at night. But the only problem with that is that doesn't address all the 30 or 50 or 100 internet routers that all your neighbors have. But every little bit counts. So you can do that at night. There's also a really cool router that I found. It was recommended by Nick Pinot, who's a big EMF expert. And it's you can set your router on a timer, like a 24-hour mechanical timer. But even better is this self-regulating Wi-Fi router. There's this engineer named Jan Rutger Schrader from the Netherlands, and his Wi-Fi router emits 90% less EMF radiation than regular routers, while offering basically the same speed, same connectivity. And he's got one called the JRS Eco 100 that automatically switched to 0 EMF when no Wi-Fi devices are connected. So in other words, if you close your computer and keep your phone on airplane mode, the Wi-Fi router just automatically turns the Wi-Fi router off. It turns off the Wi-Fi function. So his routers also have an easy on-off button for the Wi-Fi function and a lot of other really cool options. So you can check out his Wi-Fi router here if you want to check that out. So it's called the JRS Eco 100. And I'm going to copy and paste that in the comments right now. So that's a really cool thing that I found this weekend, poking around on Facebook over Labor Day weekend. And so that's one thing you can do. You also, number 3, you want to rethink your smart home. The more devices that are connected to your Wi-Fi or cellular network, the more EMF your family is going to have. So ditch the smart home devices and lock the door or start the oven or regulating your temperature. There's lots of cool things like Nest and other things that you can program your home when you're away or turn off the lights when you're away. But there's a price to pay for those Wi-Fi devices. So also decline having a smart meter installed by your electric company if you can. I know a lot of people don't have any choices. I had the choice when my old home, before I sold it, they just, the electric company showed up and said, hey, do you mind if we install a smart meter? And I thought, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I just had no clue what I was doing. Some of these smart meters send out these really strong pulses that pulsate 25 miles out to the electric company to tell them how much energy that you're using. And some of them do it every 30 seconds. And then some people have these smart meters in the walls at the head of their bed. And then they wonder why they're not sleeping or why both them and their husband develop brain tumors. I've heard of this. I've heard of husbands and wives developing brain tumors. They had no idea that their smart meter was sending all these pulses causing their health issues. So you really want to be aware of where your bedroom is, where your smart meter is in relation to where you and your children are sleeping. This is really, it can be life and death situation for some people and families. Also, number 4, you want to avoid high power voltage lines. Don't buy a house or rent an apartment next to a 10,000 volt power line, especially if you have or plan to have children. And so this is something that I had in my backyard in my home that I sold in Silver Lake. It's one of the reasons I sold my home. It was a very painful decision, but there was this huge electric pole with all electricity. I mean, like there was 10 or 12 electric wires running to all the other houses in the neighborhoods. It was just in my backyard. And I know that this was causing fatigue and brain fog and weight gain and other health issues in myself. And so I made the decision to leave that home. Other people have different issues they face where they have cell phone towers being installed in front of their home or 5G cell towers, which they need to put up like every 50 feet in some areas for 5G to work. And so some people have in front of their children's school, they have huge cell phone towers being erected that impact the children's health. So this is something that people just need to be aware of. There's websites you can go to also where I forget what it's called, but you can type in your zip code and find out how, or even your home address, and find out how many Wi-Fi routers there are in your area where they're located. And then you have to make that decision whether you're going to move, you're going to stay. But if you're considering a new home, make sure you're aware of where these cell phone towers are so that you can make better decisions. And even especially some apartments. I knew someone that would take, when they were looking for a home, they were taking an EMF meter and measuring the EMF in different apartments so they could choose one that was the least exposure to EMF. They looked at one apartment, and just the EMF meter went off the charts. There was a huge power line tower right outside the apartment windows. So that was a no-go for that person. But it really pays to be aware of your environment when it comes to EMF. So one thing I want to make people aware of is, like, you can take all the precautions in the world. You can put a little sticker on your cell phone. You can get a little EMF device that's right by your desk, or you have it in your bedroom. I have like this cool little device. It's called the Somavetic next to me. There are devices you can buy for your whole house. There are all kinds of little doohickeys that you can buy that are out there to protect from EMF. So you can turn your Wi-Fi router off at night, but that's not protecting from your neighbor's Wi-Fi, especially live in a building, a high-rise building, when there's just probably hundreds of Wi-Fi signals. No matter what you do, even if you turn your electric meter off at night, all of your circuit, your fuse box, that doesn't protect you from your neighbor's smart meter. Your neighbors may not be making as healthy choices as you. No matter what you do in your environment, it also doesn't account for the 100, 200, or even 500 cell phone towers within a small radius of your home or office. These little protection devices also don't protect you when you're walking around outside your home. So when you leave your little cocoon that you've protected from EMF, or some of us have done a great job doing that. What happens when you walk outside and go to the grocery store or go to work? What about the dirty electricity in the walls of your home? A lot of us live in old homes with not so great electrical wiring or outdated circuit boards that will emit dirty electricity and leak it. So really the only way to truly protect yourself is with a personal EMF protection device. And so many EMF protection devices don't address all of these above issues. So there's a lot of different devices that absorb a little EMF, or they shield you from your computer, or they partially block a cell phone signal or protect you as long as you're near them, but not all the time, everywhere that you go. So that's why my number 5 choice to protect yourself from EMF is this Pure Harmony pendant. And so this pendant is something I never go anywhere without this. I only take it off when I shower. Sometimes I take it off when I go to sleep, but I wear it constantly. I love this pendant. And I've seen it in action too. I did a podcast with, I did a podcast with James Gorin, where we talk about how he discovered this pendant. He would be testing people with an EMF meter, and I saw him at at Paleo Effects. I saw him at a conference, and he was at this conference testing people with an EMF meter, showing them how much EMF was running through their body. And he kept having over a dozen people come to him, and he noticed they didn't have any EMF running through their body at all. And he was really shocked by this because he'd never seen that before. And then over time, he realized that they were all wearing the Pure Harmony pendant. So he talks about this on this link that I'm going to give you here. So I'm going to send you this link. You can watch this video yourself. And so if you want to try out the Pure Harmony pendant, you can get that right here. I'll paste this link here for you guys so that you can learn more about this. But in this video, you can watch it on this link I'm going to send you. James Gorin talks about that. And I also did a podcast with him as well, where he talks about how EMF works in your body and how the pendant protects you as well. I'll post that in a second. But this is how this works exactly. Is it when you get it, you do this activation process where it tunes your body's vibrational field, your body's energy field. And then when EMF energy hits the pendant, it bounces off of it and actually transmutes it into positive energy from your body, rather than the EMF hitting you and negatively impacting your body. So this serves almost as like a shield. That's kind of the simplest way to describe it. The developer of this, Robert Marking, he developed this about 11 years ago and has used it with thousands of people, really. And I mean, I've seen hundreds of people at conferences that use the pendant or activated the pendant, and it's just amazing, the results. People come back the next day. Even a lot of health celebrities have been harmonized with this pendant, and they come back the next day and are just really blown away by how much better they feel. And part of that is the EMF protection that the pendant imparts to them. We have harmonized Dave Asprey, Dr. Mercola, Ben Lynch, Andrew Wakefield, Elle McPherson. I mean, so many different health celebrities and people in the health industry, and many more to come as well. And some Nick Pinole, who's a big EMF expert, he was really blown away by the results also. And I really want to talk to him more about that and his experience with it. But so this is my number 1 protection device that I use. I have a lot of things that I've bought and purchased in my vain attempt to try to protect myself from EMF. So I have all these things on my desk, and I bought cell phone protectors, and I've just looked at all kinds of things. I have the mat that underneath my computer to absorb all the EMF from my computer, because I spend so much time in front of it. And I really didn't feel the results from those as much as the Pure Harmony pendant. So this is what I wear. This is my number one go-to for EMF protection. I have peace of mind no matter where I go, no matter what I'm hit with, whether I go to the grocery store or a friend's house or other places where people are just being bombarded with all different types of EMF, I'm protected. So I have peace of mind that way. So let's talk a little bit about, can you reverse EMF damage? So in reading some of these studies, it was kind of grim. I personally believe that you largely can correct cell damage done by EMF. You can repolarize, remagnetize, bring your cell's voltage up to the proper levels, reestablish bioenergetic communication, which is one of the main way that your body communicates in your body's energy field. These are all things that EMF impairs. So, but in the literature, there are some really disturbing findings that show that you cannot reverse EMF damage or some types of damage. So I'll just touch on those for a second. But mutation accumulation produced by cellular DNA damage from EMFs is likely to be both cumulative and irreversible as well, because later mutations are highly unlikely to reverse previously occurring mutations. So this was in that 23 study meta-analysis by Martin Pohl. This is a statement that he made about his concerns about EMF damage accumulation. Another concern is about fertility. This is really one of my biggest concerns with EMF, because fertility issues are on the rise. There's a number of reasons for that, including heavy metal and chemical toxicity, metals that interfere in your hormones. But EMFs also dramatically interfere in your hormones and your sperm and sperm DNA. There was one study by Magris and Zenos in 1997, very famous study. They put pairs of young mice in the cages on the ground at 2 locations, each with somewhat different exposures within an antenna park. And the exposure levels at both sites were within safety guidelines, according to the telecommunications industry. So if the safety guidelines have any biological relevance, there should have been no effects, correct? If they were in safe guidelines. So it took about 30 days it takes about 30 days for mice to go through gestation or have babies, from fertilization to production of babies. And what the researchers found was that at higher levels of exposure, the pairs produced 1 litter of lower than normal size. Their second litter of babies, after like 60 days of exposure, they had lowered numbers of babies. And after that, their third, where they're supposed to have their third litter of babies, they became completely sterile or had extremely low fertility. At the other site, the mating pairs produced 4 litters with decreasing number of babies over time, followed by complete sterility. So in both groups, the mating and possible subsequent gestation for the 5th possible litter were performed under conditions of no EMF exposure. But the fertility effects were not reversed. So the researchers were concerned that these fertility effects may have become irreversible. So they attempted to breed these mice a 5th time where they had 0 EMF exposure, and they did not reproduce. And so I know there's a lot of women out there really concerned about, having children, having trouble getting pregnant, having recurrent miscarriages, and just children can have a lot of birth defects, health problems from EMF. There's lots of stuff in the literature. We won't really go into that, but just know that EMFs cause infertility. And so these are some of the concerns that, are raised by the research. And so The question is, can you reverse these EMF effects? So I do think that some effects of EMF can reverse, but I think a lot of these researchers talking about this, talking about that you can't reverse these effects. I don't know how long-term some of these studies were, but they also don't have access to, no researcher knows everything about how to reverse the effects of EMF. There's a lot of tools that we have to do so. But again, this all begs the argument that you need to take action now, today, to protect your body from any further EMF potential damage. And so that's why I recommend the Pure Harmony EMF pendant to protect against EMF from anywhere that you go, from all types of EMF. There's also another really interesting mat that I like. It's kind of like a beamer, but not. I don't like beamer mats. This is called the Pure Wave Now mat. And this mat, it's a mat you lay on, you turn it on, it produces frequencies that charge up the voltage in your cells, that correct the voltage that has been depressed or interfered with by EMF exposure. And so it basically charges up your cells. I did a podcast with James Gorin, who's involved with this company, and he discusses the exact mechanism by which EMFs disrupt your cells, that they disrupt the calcium channel gates in your cells and causes buildup of calcium. And how this mat clears the cells of EMF and then the resultant calcium buildup caused by EMF, and how this mat charges your cells up to the correct voltage. And I have this mat. I love it. I use it on a daily basis. I highly, highly recommend it. So I'm going to post that podcast here with James Gorin. It's how to become resilient to EMF and electrosmog radiation. So it's called his mat. It's called the Pure Wave Now mat for EMF protection and the reversal of the effects of EMF. So I'll post that right here. That's super, super, super interesting. There's so many different gadgets out there to protect from EMF and to reverse the effects of EMF damage. So these are my two favorite things that I use to protect myself from EMF. I'm always doing more and more research and talking to people, but these are my two number one things that I use to I use the Pure Wave Now mat to kind of clear off, kind of recharge my cells' voltage so that they're operating at the correct voltage. And then I use the pendant to protect myself. And I use a lot of other things too. I'm going to have this guy in the podcast, something really interesting. It's called the Wata by aquanu.com. And so I'll post this link now. The guy's coming on. This water, it's unbelievable. What it does essentially, it's the fifth phase of water. It's a gaseous form of water that's infused in just a purified water. Well, we don't care about the purified water. We care about the gaseous state of water infused into this water. You drink about 1/2 liter a day, and that floods your body with electrons. Because what EMF does is it causes you to lose your electrons, lose your grounding, lose your body's polarity and magnetism that aligns with the Earth's magnetism. So you lose your grounding. And because of that, your body doesn't work correctly. So this is a great way to flood your body with electrons, just like if you walked on the Earth barefoot or went swimming in the oceans. Those things flood your body with electrons. And this corrects and reestablishes physical cellular communication. And that corrects and reverses a lot of the damage that EMF does. So this just occurred to me while we were talking. I love this water so much. So just go on this website. There are a million testimonials. I'm having the guy Rob Gorley on the podcast soon to discuss his water. I've been drinking it. I've been drinking it every day for about 2 weeks now. I absolutely love it. I mean, the testimonials are unbelievable. You can get it on Amazon. The shipping is pretty expensive directly on aquanew.com, but you can buy it on Amazon in 1/2 liter and 1 liter bottles. So that's what I recommend, 1/2 liter a day, but start with 1 ounce a day because it can be really strong for some people. It really starts detoxing you and has all these really positive effects, but some people, they need to go slow, especially if they're sensitive. So my biggest concerns about the effects or symptoms of EMF toxicity is that they may be among the more difficult effects for us to attribute to EMF exposure. We're much more aware of effects that occur rapidly than those that take months or years before they become readily apparent. And many of the effects of EMF set on slowly and gradually, cumulatively. And so it's almost like you're that frog that's sitting in water and the water slowly starts boiling. You're just not aware of the slow onset of these symptoms and the source of the onset of symptoms. Additionally, there's false assurances of the safety of EMFs on the part of the telecommunications industry. And because of this, people are likely to lead much more so what I'm trying to say is there's false assurances of safety on the part of industry are likely to lead to much more severe effects on people exposed to Wi-Fi and EMFs rather than leading them to protect themselves or their children by avoiding exposures or demanding that others stop non-voluntary exposures. And they are likely to avoid protective changes or be prevented from doing such preventive changes or protective changes. So that's really my biggest concern, is that there's also recent articles exposing, like the New York Times being paid off by the telecommunications industry. And, so they're not publishing articles that shed light on the negative effects of EMF, and in fact publish false information about how EMFs are totally harmless to human health. And the research is completely in opposite of that. The research shows properly done research on all different types of EMF show that they are harmful to human cells, harmful to human health. And so there's lots of really badly done research also that shows that EMFs are totally fine, but they're not. Many times those research studies are showing EMF, but these are types of EMF that are not harmful to us, not the types of EMF that we're actually exposed to. So my plea to you is don't wait to take action. There are so many things I listed in this Facebook Live that you can do to take action, but the simplest, easiest thing to do that I recommend is this Pure Harmony pendant. This is what I use, and this is what I recommend. So let's get to some of the questions. Wow, we have a lot more people on. Thanks so much for joining us. I want to put on my glasses so I can read all of your questions. So Carrie, just got my Pure Harmony pendant today. Awesome. Yeah, we have a huge Labor Day sale. We have the Pure Harmony pendant at 50% off, which is, $75 off. So that's a smoking deal. They're normally $149, but they're $75. We had our Labor Day sale. It's still going on. So definitely take advantage of that. So I'll post a link again for anyone that wants to get their own Pure Harmony pendant or wants to learn more about it. It's my #1 EMF protection recommendation. So I'll post that again here in the comments. So Susie, so thanks for joining us. So ready to get my 5G learning on. Yeah, so I hope I illuminated some of the scary effects of 5G and EMF here. So next question. So Lois, so yes, some symptoms still, wear some protection and helps a bit. So not sure what that's referring to. So let's see. Oh yes, Jan, thanks so much. You found that link I was talking about. It's antennasearch.com. That's where you can go and search. You type in your zip code and find out how many cell phone towers there are in your area. Thanks so much for sending me that link. I could not think of it. I learned about that on a podcast and I just couldn't find it later. Khalid Barad, hi, thanks so much for joining us. So Jennifer Tinder, is there ever a time when you should remove the pendant? Example, like during a PEMF therapy device session or keeping it on? Okay. I actually take my pendant off whenever I'm doing any type of energy work. So if I'm ever doing like a Nest Health scan, which is our bioenergetic program, I did one last night actually. When I am doing a My Health session, which is a PEMF device, I take the pendant off of me because the pendant helps protect from energy waves. So if I'm ever sending energy information or frequencies to my body that are healthful, I take the pendant off because I don't want them to be blocked. So that's just something to be aware of. So I take it off. I also take it off when I shower. Sometimes I forget and leave it on. It's okay. It's stainless steel. And I also take it off sometimes when I sleep, but a lot of times I leave it on just because I just worry that when I take it off. And so next question here, Lisa Aldrin, infrared saunas as a treatment. Yeah, so actually infrared sauna is a very good suggestion because EMF, is a radiation exposure, and infrared saunas kill cells that have been radiated. They're weaker cells that have been exposed to radiation, and they've been, maybe damaged in some way. And infrared saunas help to kill off some of those cells. So that's a very, very good recommendation. So thanks for bringing that up. So Kelly Fitzer, hi, I'm from Florida. Hope you're staying out of the hurricanes. The hurricanes wake. So thanks so much for joining us. Lois, so I've been working 44 years in offices and very electro hypersensitive. Yeah, and this is a case with a lot of people that I work with. They realize, before they come to me that they're electrosensitive, or they realize it when they start working with me. Because for a lot of people that are sick or have diagnoses, they're not really, EMF is the last thing on their mind. They're looking for physical solutions to physical health problems. They go to their doctor looking at their physical symptoms and giving them a physical solution, like a medication or a therapy or a surgery or whatever the case may be. And it's not always a physical solution. Frequencies are very much a part of our lives, whether they are positive or negative frequencies. So we really have to think about, protecting ourselves from negative frequencies and using positive frequencies to influence the physical health of our bodies. And so, yeah, a lot of people realize they're electrosensitive, and some people are so sensitive they can barely even leave their homes. Like they are really, really sick. Some people, they can't even use cell phones or get on the computer. And so this is the Pure Harmony Pendant's a great solution for those people that are really sensitive. It can really help them kind of get back into life by being able to get on their computer and do what they need to do, work. Lisa, so should I get one for my dog? Yes, you can use these on animals. You can use a pendant for your animals. I had one for my dog, Jezebel. She passed, unfortunately. I had Jezebel and Wizard, who were my pets. And both of them had their own pendants that I had on their little chains, their collars. So you can definitely use it. You need one pendant per person or animal. So you can't take a pendant and give it to somebody else. That's not how it works. You have to have your own pendant because you do this activation process. When you buy the pendant, it says myersdetox.com/activate. You go on that website or that page, and there's a video and instructions on how to activate the pendant because it tunes to your body's energy field. So that means if you tune it to you and then give it to somebody else, it just confounds the effectiveness. You want to use it one per person. Each person and each animal needs their own pendant. And you want to do that activation process once a week because we get hit with stuff. We get hit with EMF exposures or stressors or eat a bad food or just all kinds of things that throw off our energy field. You need to do the activation or harmonization process once a week to keep it in tune with you, just FYI. Can children wear the pendant? Absolutely. My daughter Winter has one. I put it underneath her pillow at night because kids are prone to losing things, or she'll be wearing the necklace and take it off. So I always make sure I have it underneath her pillow at the very least. I've sent her to school with it, and she'll end up taking it off and losing it, and then I have to get her another one, but that's fine. I have plenty of them. But yeah, that's with children, that can be a little bit of an issue. But yes, children can wear it. As long as you wear it anywhere near your body, it can be on a belt loop, it can be on a like a chain going into your pocket. You can wear it in your purse. And as long as it's kind of near your body for most of the day, you're good. Pamela, so my 11-year-old son lost his pendant. I'm wondering if I can give him mine, even though I already harmonized the pendant to my body. You know what? We'll just send you another one. I know this for totally free. That's not a problem at all. Just email support@myersdetox.com. We'll just replace it for free. I don't want you to have to buy another one. No problem. We'll just send you a new one. You don't want to give it to your child. You don't want to give your pendant to your child. Just keep yours for you, and we'll send another one in the mail, because it happens. Kids lose theirs. I know. Winter loses hers. She's lost a few of them. So don't worry. We'll just replace it for free. Pamela Goldstein. So I have one for everyone in my family, including my dog. I do too, because I've seen personally the results of people getting harmonized with this pendant and using the pendant. We actually have a study also that I'm going to publish soon with a doctor that took about 33 subjects. They were harmonized once a week for 6 weeks, and 85% of people had a dramatic reduction in their heart rate, or they had an improvement in their heart rate variability, and dramatic reduction in stress, and also other parameters related to stress. And so they felt a dramatic improvement in their symptoms and their stress levels. And so we have a great study on this. I'm so excited. I just haven't published it yet. I just need to get around to doing it. It's just so busy I was gone for a month. I went to Europe for a month, and I went to the Greek islands. I went to Italy, the Amalfi Coast, and Rome. And I went to Croatia. I went to Dubrovnik, Croatia. And I also went to Paris. So I just had this whirlwind European tour. So we did this study a while ago, so I just haven't published it. So that's going to be coming out soon. And so that's, like I said, the science. So Shannon Levitt, you asked, what's the scientific proof this is working? So we have this study that's coming out. We're also going to be doing a study about how it protects from EMF. I mean, you can do a test yourself. You can do an EMF meter and hold it up to put your cell phone on one side of your arm and the EMF meter on the other side. And you can see the EMFs coming through your body. When you put the pendant on and activate it, you'll find the EMF meter is down to 0, because those EMF, the Wi-Fi signal is not pulsing through your body anymore. You're protected with the pendant. So that's the best that we can do right now. But like I said, I had James Gorn. He's an electrical engineer. He's an expert on EMF. He's an expert on the electrical currents that run through the body and the body's energy field. And so he talks about this in the video on this link that I pasted, so you guys can watch that. But like I said, we do have one study with 33 people that showed that it improved their heart rate variability, which is a measure of stress. So next question here, but like I said, my other point was I have just personally seen hundreds of people harmonize with this pendant and wear it and are just shocked by the results, because the next day people have aches and pains reduced. They have chronic injuries that aren't bothering them anymore. Nick Pinole, who's an EMF expert, he had like this shoulder injury for 7 years. The next day he had no pain. He was blown away by that. I mean, we've just had so many people with like major like sporting injuries, their pain going from a 10 to a 2. I harmonized Sterling Hill. Sterling Hill is a genetics expert. She owns mthfrsupport.com. She called me up. We were talking. She was having severe sciatica. She couldn't lay down or sit or stand. She was just miserable. I'm like, get your pendant. I'd sent her a pendant. She got it. Oh, she got harmonized with it. And she said the next day her pain had gone down to like 10%. She could not believe it. And so we have so many different testimonials like this from athletes, from UFC fighters that wear this, and just so many different people to talk about this, how the pendant not only protects them from EMF, especially those who are really EMF sensitive, they can really feel the difference, but just help improve a lot of their symptoms that, you know, may or may not be related to EMF. But it's doing something, and I've seen this in hundreds of people, hundreds of testimonials. We're going to be getting more and more and more on video for you guys coming soon, but there's lots of testimonials on the page that I sent you, the link that I sent you right here. So Lisa, so I have to spend a large part of my day on Instagram for my business, and sometimes on my I can feel my phone fingers vibrating. And so is that EMF, or am I or am I crazy? Yes, so that is EMF. I have this also, like if I have my computer on my thighs, like that's how I used to work, was I just put my computer on my thighs and be typing away in my bed. And in my thighs, I just got to the point where I could not put my computer on my legs because the EMF was just zapping them. I get that also when I'm holding my phone a lot. I do tend to be on my phone all the time because I have an online business. And when sometimes I can tell it's just irritating me. The cell phone's irritating me. So I assure you that the irritation you're feeling in your body is the phone and the EMFs being emitted from the phone and your body reacting to that. So Nancy, so I have a QI shield or a Chi shield maybe. Can I wear the pendant as well? Do they cancel each other out? I don't recommend wearing two different pendants that are EMF protectors. I have noticed that other people that do this tend to not feel well. They tend to have this negative effect for whatever reason. So I don't recommend that. I've seen this with a few people where they're wearing two different pendants because, hey, two is better than one, right? And they end up actually feeling worse. So I don't recommend that. I recommend one or the other, in my opinion. So Peggy, does it help with sleep issues? Yes, because the pendant takes a lot of stressors off of you, because it corrects your body's energetic functioning essentially. People do end up sleeping better. It kind of takes we know that it improves heart rate variability, which is a measure of stress. So it dramatically reduces your stressors, not just EMF. It includes EMF that it's protecting you from. I noticed this dramatically when I first got harmonized with a pendant or had my pendant activated. I literally, within 30 minutes, I was yawning. I was just getting really, really tired because my stress levels went to here where they'd honestly been for years. And it was just like I became really, really sleepy. And it took a day or two for my body to kind of regulate. But I did start sleeping much, much better after I started wearing my pendant. So it really was one of the things that helped me with sleep issues that I was having. I do not have sleep issues anymore. So definitely feel the pendant helped me in that regard. So Deborah, so with the pendant, does it matter which side it faces on my body? I have one. Yeah, so you want to face it where the URL is facing away from your body. And we talk about that in the video and how to activate it, how to harmonize with it. So you want to make sure it's always facing that way. And we have a new pendant coming out, actually. I'm so excited about it. It's not available yet. I'll show it to you guys. You guys are the very first people to see this. This is the new pendant that's coming out. Here, let me show it to you guys. So this is coming out. We're not going to have it for a while, so don't get your hopes up. But this will be out pretty soon. It's a lot smaller than the pendant now. And it's a 4-hole pendant, and it's got this design on the front of it. So you always know which way to face the pendant. So what we're finding with these pendants, the URL is printed on the front, and then it erodes off with your body oil. It just comes off, and then which way do I wear my pendant? So I came up with this idea to, put this design on the front of it and make it a lot smaller. so that women will like it more, and we'll have a nice delicate chain for it. So that'll be coming out soon. Definitely by Black Friday, we will have those pendants. So looking forward to that. So yes, it does matter which side it's facing. So could this help my trigeminal neuralgia? It could. It could. I mean, it just depends on how much damage you have to that nerve. The trigeminal nerve is one of 12 cranial nerves. I think trigeminal neuralgia can be caused by mercury toxicity. That's one of the causes, but EMF can also be a cause. Physical nerve damage can also be a cause as well. So it never hurts to try to see if the pendant will help with that. There are other things that you can do as well. Using a My Health device with PEMF can really, really help that as well. There are also certain emotional issues related to blockage of the cranial nerves and the meridians that the trigeminal nerve is located on. So I forget, I don't know off the top of my head, the type of emotional trauma that people suffer that then can cause them to have blockages energetically in their cranial nerves, including the trigeminal nerve. Clearing of that can help to improve symptoms. There's a number of different alternative things that you can use. I recommend Nest Health and using a My Health PEMF device for any type of pain. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. I've dramatically helped my fiance. He's got issues with migraines and nerve pain, and using the Nest Health and the My Health have dramatically improved his pain levels and reduced the frequency with his headaches and the bouts of pain that he has. So you just have to try a number of different things and see what your pain responds to. So Javis, so can you recommend a good device to measure EMF or other radiations? I tried the tri-field EMF meter. It looks like that meter doesn't measure certain kinds of radiation. Yeah, you know what? I don't know off the top of my head. The tri-field is certainly one device you can use. There's other ones on Amazon. Usually the good ones are in about the $300 range. Dr. Mercola on his site has lots of recommendations for really good meters. Nick Pinot on his site, I forget the name of his site exactly, but he has good recommendations. So I don't know off the top of my head to go searching right now during the Facebook Live, so I apologize. So Christine, so can the pendant be recalibrated so we could give it to our spouse? I would prefer the smaller one in the future. Yes, I don't know how to do that though. I know the founder, Robert Marking, he knows how to clear the pendants so that you can give them to another person. You probably have to do a session with him at, it's called pureharmonyliving.com, and you can book a session with Robert Marking and clear the pendant and also have him harmonize or activate your pendant for you. I really highly recommend doing that. I highly recommend having Robert harmonize it for you. He's really an interesting guy. I consult with him about once a month for my health, and I love him to death. He has helped me so much with my health and with my stress levels and just with my health in general. And the consult with him is, dare I say, very, very interesting. There's a lot more to it than I can really explain here on this Facebook Live, but never had anyone be disappointed at all. Usually they're very shocked. They're really in awe after they do a consult with him and what they learn. And so I highly, highly, highly recommend that, and having him activate the pendant for you, because he can kind of see where your problem areas are and then clear them with the pendant and make sure everything's cleared off of you. And really, really interesting session. So that's an option also. You don't have to have anyone do this for you. You can activate it yourself. And after you buy a pendant, it comes in a little package, and where you can go to pureharmonyliving.com/activate or myersdetox.com/activate, and you can see how to activate it. And on those links, there's also a link to download a PDF also with instructions on how to activate it as well. So Kelly Fitzer, I seem to have an excess of electrostatic in my hands. always getting shocked, blowing bulbs, computerized devices freeze, and street lights often go out when I pass under them. Will this help eliminate issues? Well, some women are just more supercharged than others. I've known other people like this also, where they just seem to, like, the computers die on them, and their computer keyboards die on them, and just things seem to short circuit when they touch them. And I don't know what that's caused by, or some people maybe just have a better conductivity than others. Maybe you're special. I don't really know what that's caused by, but I know the pendant does protect you from EMF and negative frequencies. I don't know if the pendant is going to protect the environment from you. So I don't have the answer to that question. I'm so sorry. So Bernard, so Environmental Health Trust is a great source of info for scientific research on EMF and 5G. Thank you so much for that link. Thank you. So Lois White, interesting, Kelly, happens to me, think because I'm electro hypersensitive. Yeah, and some people are, they are just really much more, fall much more victim to EMF than other people. And that's without 5G rolling out. Some people are so sensitive, they have to go move out into the country. They have to go live in an area where there is very low EMF from Wi-Fi routers and cell phone towers, and they literally cannot go into the city because they start having heart palpitations, and their body just cannot handle it. And so this is really my big concern with people that are electrosensitive, and is the 5G coming out. It's already in Austin, it's in New Orleans, the 5G is in Huntington Beach, it's rolling out in other areas, and it just really concerns me. And that's why I'm trying to get the word out about the Pure Harmony pendant, trying to get the word out and wake people up. You have to do something about this. You can't eat a good diet and take all these supplements and exercise and get your sun and do all this stuff that everyone's doing and ignore EMF protection. It's a mistake, I assure you. So you guys, thanks for listening to me. Thanks for listening to all the research that I do every week, and my opinions on and my recommendations on how to protect your body, not only from EMF, but from heavy metals and toxins and chemicals. It just trying to, give you guys information on how to protect your health, because I don't think that diet, supplements, exercise are enough today. And as many of you know, many of you guys know you're doing everything right. You're checking all the boxes and still not feeling right. That's why you're listening. So thanks for tuning in every week. Thanks so much. I'm so blessed every day to wake up and do what I absolutely love to do, which is researching and writing about health and teaching others about it as well. So thanks for tuning in. I have these Facebook Lives every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you missed any part of this, you can start it over on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Myers Detox. You can watch this video anytime there. You can also go to my YouTube channel where we will post this video. Go to youtube.com/Wendy Myers, Myers. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys very soon.